Hey guys, what's up? This is Nikhil from dopemotions.com and welcome to this brand new After Effects tutorial. Today we're going to take a look at creating this complex looking motion graphic elements into After Effects, which are actually very simple to create. So it's going to be pretty fun and interesting to know how to create this really complex looking animation with just one shape layer. So yeah, stick throughout the tutorial and let's get into it, and I'll show you how to create this awesome stuff. Alright, so first of all, I'm gonna go and create a new composition, and let's just name this maybe an elements 1920 to 1080, 30 frames and 10 seconds should be good enough, and hit OK. Then I'm gonna go and create an ellipse. Now you can do this with any kind of shape that you can create with the pen tool, so you don't need to worry, but just for the tutorial's sake I'm gonna go and create a perfect circle from the center. So hold Shift, Alt and Control to create a perfect circle, and let's just align this into a center. Now if you don't have this align tab, you can go into Windows and there you'll find it, so just click on it if you don't have it. So now you can see in our shape layer we have this contents properties of the shape layer, and we have the ellipse one. So first of all we need to add a trim part to it. So to give a little bit of animation, not a little bit, actually give a lot of animation, you need to add a trim parts. So click on this button and add trim parts. So now we get this trim part properties, and now we can animate our circle like so. So let's just keep this at 100% and click on the stopwatch to create a keyframe. Go to maybe around 1 second and bring this down to 0. Then maybe I'll just bring this up to, let's say, 5 frames. And increase the start property to all the way up to 100 and create a keyframe. Go to 1 second, 5 frames and set this down to 0. So now we have a pretty lame animation at present, but to give it a little bit of dynamic, or you can say anticipation, I'm going to select the keyframe and hit F9 to ease them. Go to Graph Editor and create kind of a peak to give a little bit of anticipation to the animation, so it makes it look a little bit better. Yep, now you can see it looks way better than before. Yep, that is looking pretty nice. Then what I'm going to do is, oops, I closed it. Just bring this down. Then I'm going to go and add an offset path. So click right over there and add an offset path. So now we get this really nice stroke. Now we can go into offset path properties and increase and decrease the the value or the size of the stroke. So I'm going to set this up to 6 for now. That is looking really nice. Now the last thing we need to go and add is a repeater to repeat the strokes. So I'm going to go add a repeater to it. Then go to the repeater properties and you can increase the number of copies that you want to, but for now I'm going to set this up to 20. Go to the transform repeater properties, and here is where the magic happens. So I'm going to set the position down to 0 and scale this down a little bit like so, and then rotate it. So now you can see with just some tweaks we get this really complex looking animation. So it is that simple to create this kind of complex looking animation, and you can go way crazy with this stuff. So you can just play around with the scale and give it a completely different kind of an animation. You can play around with the rotation as well if you want to. So for example, if I just scale this up, you get a completely different looking animation. I'll just bring the opacity down. You see it looks pretty nice and sleek, and it can be really helpful for motion graphic designers. So you can also play around with the scale again and maybe give a different look to it. That looks pretty nice. And you can do this with any kind of shape that you can create into After Effects. So this is a really handy quick tip. You can go crazy with this thing. I can just play around with this stuff all day. So that looks pretty cool. So for example, just to show you guys and give you guys an idea, let's say if I just bring this down some basic settings like so, and let's create a pretty random shape with this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hide this shape layer for now. Turn on my title action safe and select my pen tool and create a pretty random shape like so. And then all I need to do is bring or copy the trim paths, offset path and repeater. Hit Ctrl C to copy it. Select the contents of the shape layer 2 and Ctrl V to paste it. So now if I play it, you can see we have instantly some really cool animation going on right there. It looks really sick. So you can go again and play around with the properties of the repeater and create some different shapes. So if I go to transform repeater and play around with the scale, maybe somewhere around there, it gives a completely different animation. Play around with rotation as well, you know, and this looks really nice. So it's kind of a quick tip for you guys, and I hope this was, really helpful to you. And if it was, don't forget to subscribe, comment and like, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care and thank you so much for watching, guys.